How many people have heard of the United States? Which one? This has three separate legal meanings. Which one are you talking about? Okay. Let's see where it is in the middle of this thing. In this case, I can't find it real quick. Like the court said, the United States Supreme Court in Hooven versus Elliott. No, that's the wrong one. It's Hooven versus EVAT. It's on the Patriot newsletter over there. Hooven versus EVAT. Hooven versus EVAT. EVATT. You can get the direct quote off the paperwork over there. In there, the United States Supreme Court held that the United States has three separate, distinct legal meanings. One, it means a nation amongst nations under international law. One, it means the District of Columbia and the territories over which the United States is sovereign. And the other one, it means the collective name of the sovereign states and the federal government included. The collective name. Which one are they? Which one's bringing charges against me? You do your admissions. I don't understand the meaning. The court says this. You write them a letter and say, the court says this. I want to know which meaning of the United States you're talking about here. Then they got to come back and tell you. Do your request for admissions. And if you want to be really, really nasty, I can teach you to do that too. You file, write a letter to the government, and first you write your first letter to the CRS. That's Congressional Research Service in Washington, D.C. And you ask them, are the Reconstruction Acts, have they ever been repealed? They can write back and say, no, they've never been repealed. Then you write them a second letter. If that's the case, under the Reconstruction Acts, all the states lost their sovereignty. And we're now federal territories and federal enclaves under the Reconstruction Acts under martial law. Is that correct? And they can write back and tell you yes. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. Then you write in the second letter. The third letter, I mean. Then you say, the president signing these executive orders as he's signing them under the authority of the Reconstruction Acts, under martial law. And they'll say yes. Now you got them. You take those three letters, IRS come after you, or you want to go after them or whatever, bingo. We're under martial law, you know what I mean? The wartime footing. See, you set them up. You do one step at a time. You do a letter writing campaign. Steve knows pretty well how I do letter writing campaign. Very effective, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
When you do your steps one by one by one. You got a workplace. You write them a letter. Say, I've changed my political status from a U.S. citizen to a Californian. Please correct your records to reflect this. They don't do it, then you write them a second letter. 30 days later, you write them a third letter. Now you can take them into court and make them correct the records. But you have to be prepared to do all that. Do you follow me? You don't write the first letter and say, okay, I lost. You know what I mean? They ignored me. Well, naturally they're going to ignore you up front. I got a lady who followed my directions, and I got her a job at the Great Western Bank over here in the heart of the beast, mankind's enemy, the banks, at Great Western Bank without a social security number. Took her 6 weeks to get the job, but she followed my directions. She wrote letters, wrote the legal department. Every 3 days She'd write the legal department another letter. Just keep that paperwork going. You follow me? And she just laid so much paper on. They say, "We give up. You're hired." She started off $50,000 a year. She worked for almost 5 years before they sold Great Western Bank. And then they laid her off. They abolished her position when they combined with other banks. You know what I mean? Of course, they laid off another 5,000 people too, but she just happened to be in the avenue. So it's available to you, yes.
Regarding the Reconstruction Act, the idea is we're operating under martial law.
No, you don't say that. You ask them to say that.
And once they say that,
You're home free.
because
Yes. Now you know what I mean. Oh, we're not under martial law. Then the president's executive orders don't apply here.
well, you just said that we are. According
I didn't say that.
to the Congressional Research Service
Said that. You're right.
So when the president signs an executive order,
He's signing it under the authority of the Reconstruction Acts.
does that apply to?
He's not allowed to. He can't write an executive order and make it apply in Japan. He can't write an executive order and make it apply in Canada. He can't write an executive order and make it apply in Mexico. He can't make an executive order and make it apply in the sovereign state of California, but he can write an executive order and make it apply in Puerto Rico, Guam, the territories, or military bases, and etc. You know what I mean?
I think maybe where the breakdown in communication is coming is, I think what Richard is saying is that once you have the proof or the admission that the Reconstruction Act is still alive and well and that martial law is extant, that they are not going to stand up publicly and say, well, yes, of course, we're all under martial law. So rather than make that admission, they're going to back down.
They'll just turn tail and run.
So you get a settlement, rather than an outright victory.
Yeah.
But it amounts to the same thing.
Well, it's just the evidence that yes, the federal government is operating under martial law.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to say that in court.
Well, the mere fact that if you've gotten these kind of letters, it sounds like great evidence to keep them away.
They'll stay away.
Go home.
Go
There you
home.
go.
There you go.
Because they don't want this kind of information to see the light of day, I would think.
Right, they don't. This is why you build that's why I say you do your letter writing campaign. You build a foundation. You do not jump off the Golden State Bridge unless you learn how to swim first. You lay